So everything you can and do and say will be live. Am I sharing my bills with you now or something? All right, I don't know, I can't really see who all's here, but I think it's 9 o'clock. It's that bewitching hour. If we could, I'd like for everyone to rise and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is Senator Carosa in the house? She could maybe do a prayer for us.
Good morning. I sure am. And it's good to see everybody on this fine Friday. And I will be brief. I know that we will have a full agenda, but I pulled a prayer from Elizabeth Ann Seton, a Catholic saint from Maryland. I thought we'd have a little bit of a Maryland tie here. And it's a prayer called Prayer for My Family, but I'm going to edit it a little bit and say prayer for our Eastern Shore family. Watch over our Eastern Shore family, dear Lord. Help us live in peace and harmony. Grant us the grace to accept each other's faults and encourage each other's strengths. Protect us from harsh words and hurt feelings. Guide us to mutual understanding and support. Bless us with good health and happiness. Give us hearts full of love, patience, and compassion for one another now and always. And we say together, amen.
Amen. Well, thank you, Senator. That was a nice prayer. Appreciate that. Just quickly, a couple of things for housekeeping. Everybody, make sure you mute yourselves. We're also going to talk real quick. We need to approve the minutes. I need a motion to approve the minutes. Second, all those in favor? Say aye. Ayes have it. Just two other little notes. We sent out a couple letters to everybody. I got a bunch of responses back, but on the horseshoe crab letter, and also Delegate Grice was looking about the disparity grant. So keep that in mind and respond to it. So I know we have a short schedule today. We have sessions starting at 10 and some people have to leave early, but we really appreciate people participating in these meetings. It's just with this pandemic and these types of meetings and moving things so fast, things have shortened up a bit. But first on the agenda, we have State Highway. Tim Smith. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just have a few remarks and then I'm happy to answer any questions, but just good morning and thank you for inviting me to the Eastern Shore delegation. For the record, Tim Smith, Administrator for State Highway Administration. I guess I'll start off a little bit with talking about winter. So unlike 2020, our Mother Nature has chosen to keep our operations teams a little hustling more than last year. So just for the record, so our winter team has tackled roughly 7 to 8 winter events that have either impacted significant portions or the entire Eastern Shore with wintry precipitation. So many of those have been overlapping and forcing our team to work some long hours. They work nights, weekends, holidays, even heard some pound or hash sign. Okay. So I'm just really proud of the team, and they've been providing safe roadways in less than ideal conditions while following proper health practices during the pandemic. And a huge part of that performance is just a tremendous local leadership we have with the district engineers, with Ken Fender and Jay Meredith. They're making wise decisions every day and having my back, and I can't thank them enough. It's not just winter events; they're handling district operations for the entire Eastern Shore. So as we think about spring, I'm thinking about it at this point, and mowing season and more traffic on the shore. Just be confident we will continue to provide expected service levels in terms of our highway operations as well as maintenance. And just to highlight some of those is just our proactive and tactical patrolling of the major corridors in the Eastern Shore. So in 2019, when I was in my previous role as chief engineer, we reallocated additional resources to our chart teams. So we set up an additional Eastern Shore team just dedicated for the Eastern Shore. And just some stats on that. In 2020, the Eastern Shore Traffic Operations Team responded to 621 disabled motorists and over 1,800 incidents and events over the course of that year. So we had our patrols logging over 2,300 hours on routes like US 50, US 301, 404, and 90. So really feel like that's helped. We can't always necessarily address the congestion, but what we can do is try to address an incident as quickly as possible. Part of maintaining our roadways is just keeping our infrastructure in good shape. Highlight a couple examples of kind of the asset management system preservation we've been doing on the Eastern Shore. I know we recently completed the Maryland 272 bridge in Northeast, as well as the 2 bridges there on Maryland 213 in Centerville. And then after the CTP season and the feedback from some stakeholders, we've advanced the 301 bridge project there at the Chester River, and we're set to advertise that before the end of the year. But I guess part of that is our infrastructure, SHA's infrastructure, is more than pavement and bridges. It's a lot about our drainage systems, traffic signals, lighting, and so forth. We've seen an increase in the number of, in recent years, our need for emergency replacements. And those living on the Eastern Shore so close to sea level know how impactful drainage systems can be in everyday lives. So to help combat that a little bit, we've done a couple drainage projects. One is on Maryland 16 there in the town of Church Creek in Dorchester. And we've also got a project there in Salisbury on US 13 Business next to the Tidal Health Hospital. So across all our assets, we're seeing, we've done some homework, and we see a large funding gap between what we need to keep our roadways and infrastructure in a state of good repair versus what we have available. And one of those biggest concerns that I have personally is just drainage. We've seen drainage be a huge issue for us across the state. And another aspect of that is just part of assets is just our Vision Zero and trying to eliminate fatalities on our roadways. So we've made over 200 spot improvements using our context guide and a Vision Zero philosophy over the past year. While that's primarily been done with grassroots approach with collaboration with local communities and officials through operational improvements, a good example of that is just our Transportation Alternatives Program and a Bikeways grant. We work with Somerset County, and that's the next design phase for Maryland 413 Shared Use Path. Another example that we partner with locals with is just the safety improvements at the intersection of 404 and 328 in Caroline County. And then another quick example is just the Maryland 343 at Canary Park Rail Trail there in the city of Cambridge. So for us to get to truly zero fatalities on a roadway, it really proactively requires us to look at all users, whether they're a foot, bicycle, or motor. And we need to I'm just requesting your assistance on to make sure we have the system preservation funding is robust enough to address these deficiencies. Because as I kind of tell my staff, good infrastructure costs money, poor infrastructure costs more. So thanks again for having me here. And at the end, I'm happy to answer any questions, or if I can't answer them, hopefully Jay or Ken can help me. Turn it back over to you.
Okay, are there anybody of your group? Does Ken want to say anything, Jim or William? Any comments from them?
Again, I can go over some of the projects we have coming up for the system preservation for District 2, if you like.
Briefly, I think we would. Don't mind. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief, sir. Good morning, everybody. Appreciate the opportunity to come on. I'll start off with Caroline County. We do have a couple of system preservation projects scheduled for Maryland 331 between Maryland 578 to Dover Bridge. That's going to be completed or taken up. It started before the July season comes around, keeping it in this FY. For Kent County, we have Maryland 514 from Maryland 20 to Stockton Star Road. For Cecil County, we have Maryland 272 from the end of maintenance, which puts it out to the beginning of Turkey Point to Stockton Star Road. I'm sorry, to Firehouse Road. For Queen Anne's County, we have 3 projects coming up. Maryland 300 at Maryland 313 to Sudlersville limits. Maryland 313 at Maryland 300, also to Sudlersville limits. And for Queen Anne's County, also, we have Maryland 213 from Wolf's Wharf Road to Chester River. And finally, for Talbot County, we have US 50 from westbound Maryland 662C to Airport Road. So all those projects are scheduled to take place before the beginning of July. So we also have additional funds in place to do some alternative methods for pavement preservation, which consist of everything from chip seal to microsurface to ultra thin. So we're looking, right now we don't have those locations chosen, but we're working together to come up with the best application for the best location. So any other questions on system preservation from me? It's willing to take questions.
Does William or anyone, any other comments from your group, or can we ask questions?
For the sake of time, Jay Meredith here. I think Tim pretty well covered it. We do have system preservation projects in all of our lower counties. We're still working on locations as well, and any of the lower Eastern Shore delegation want to discuss any of those offline, feel free to give me a call.
All right. All right, from the delegation, we have a question. Delegate Jacobs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And good morning, Tim and Ken.
All right.
Thanks for being with us this morning. First of all, Tim, I want to thank you for looking into the 301 bridge issue. We received complaints from constituents about the condition of that bridge. I guess northbound 301 where the Queen Anne's line is, and about the condition of that bridge. So I do appreciate it. I'm sure you got plenty of money, so it shouldn't be long before you get into fixing it. Look at Ken's laughing. I don't know what that's all about. Anyhow, for Ken, there's a 445. There's where you've had the plates on the road there for about a year or so, and I know the commissioners have complained to me about, it's taking so long to get that addressed. And there was at one time a conversation about MDE permits or something. So is that in the pipeline to be addressed?
Delegate Jacobs, that is actually falls underneath our office of structures section. I'm not sure where they're at with all that. I need to follow up with them to see what stage they're in, but there were some issues. They had to acquire all the permits, environmental permits to do the replacement out there. But I will follow up with them today and get you a response as to where they're at with the scheduling on that. So I know that's been a concern, but yeah, that's something we have to work with the office of structures on to get that taken care of and addressed.
Thank you. Let us know if there's if the MDE's holding up any permitting or whatnot.
Will do. I'll get you a response back by the end of the day, Delegate.
Yeah, we'll have a little chat with them.
Right.
One final thing, and I'm kind of speaking from my chairman as well, but we had a bill in about, and the question came up about when the state is mowing the grass between the highways, about how the grass, is there a plan or a program in your grass cutting system that makes sure that grass doesn't get blown out into the road? And Steve, you may want to talk a little bit more about that, but the question came up and we wanted to, I just wanted to make sure there's a plan, I guess, in your grass cutting activity to make sure that it doesn't get blown out in the road.
Delegate Jacob, we do have, I'm sorry, Delegate Harris, you want to talk?
No, you were going to address it. If you got the question, go ahead.
Yes, sir. We do our best to try to keep from blowing it out into the streets. Some locations, it's kind of hard not to do that. I know Delegate Aronson and I have had conversations before about the whether or not that's a legal thing to do, especially with some of the private sector. And I'm not sure where, whatever came out of that delegate interference, were you able to get something in place for that?
Well, we do have a couple things that I think the issue isn't so much what you guys do, because you're not deliberately blowing it on the grass on the street and leaving it there. When you do it, there's no other way to get around it. And this is not about that. This bill is just to keep grass clippings off the road highway, but it did come up in his committee. And I wasn't aware that you guys ever did that, where you didn't blow it back on into the yard. And meaning you're not deliberately leaving it on the highway.
No.
Policy you all.
Right. We do our best to kind of keep it out of the travel portion of the roadway. The equipment we have, it's designed to kind of restrict us or keep us from having to do that. We do come behind it. We'll either come through and blow it off, as you said, as well as, we have sweeper contracts in place that come through and clean up behind it too. So we don't deliberately do that. We do know that creates issues down the line. It also impacts our TMDL requirements as well. So we do our best to keep that restricted, keep everything where it needs to be and keep it out of the roadway. So some instances we can't help it, cutting it and it blows out onto the road, but we do our best to kind of keep it out of there. So.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the time I had to ask questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Delegate Mouts.
Thanks, Chairman, and good morning, everybody. Good to see you. Ken, it's great to see you. We've been talking on the phone and Zoom calls. It's great because we're all on this call now together. And I believe our federal delegation is listening in. I sent an email following up on our last conversation about the Tillman Island Bridge. And the issue, the significance of that bridge not being able to half stop. So currently, they recently imposed, or it's now being enforced this year. If you lift the bridge at all, it has to go all the way to the top. In the past, we'd always gone halfway up, which greatly increased the travel time across the bridge. So the delegation, I believe, is listening right now. And I think the email was a little confusing, but if you could just take a second to reiterate the significance of getting the state of Maryland, or at least state highway, the authority to be able to authorize, half openings. That might help shed some light on this issue. As you know, it takes we've had so many conversations about it. I'd be remiss not to give you the opportunity to address that. And also for the group, you could probably share them. I think the study said, doesn't the Tillman Island Bridge open more than any bridge on the East Coast on a yearly basis?
That's correct. On average, it opens about 10,000 times a year, which is incredible. I mean, it's the busiest drawbridge, I think, if not in the U.S., at least on the east coast of the United States. We actually also structures did a study recently that gathered a whole lot of information. They looked at the possibility of partial openings, as you suggested, and it came back with, unfortunately, that falls under the jurisdiction of the Coast Guard. And I think we're trying to work with them to see if there's a possibility of doing a partial openings. They also structures came up with a plan, if you will, which is very minimal cost to modify the structure to be able to do the partial openings. So that was one of the options we were looking at, but it goes back again to the Coast Guard, which strictly says we cannot do partial openings. So that's one of the holdups on that. Again, this bridge is extremely busy. The boat traffic itself, it gets a lot of traffic above and below, so it's a lot to contend with out there. We've also looked at one of the other possibilities that the study presented was partial, not just the partial openings, but the timed openings as well. And Delegate Mounts, as he said, we've met out there with a lot of the locals, a lot of the people in the community, and that definitely does not seem to be the chosen or particular method that we want to go to. It's just, I personally don't think it's going to be an option. So I think it kind of does leave us with one only option, and that goes back to the partial open. So Delegate Mounts, are you still going to be able to work with the Coast Guard on that? I know you've reached out to Senator Cardin's.
So I have, if I might, I have an update on that. I spoke with Delegate Mounts yesterday morning or the day before and reached out to our office and sent a message to, as you requested, to Senator Eckert's office with a meeting possibility for next Wednesday. And I was letting Senator Eckert's office take the lead on that. I think that our office, just for preparation of that meeting, was looking for more of the federal concerns before we have a meeting with the Coast Guard. So we're letting Senator Eckert's office take the lead on, letting us know the time.
So it looks like that's being addressed. Okay.
Yeah, hopefully this discussion today will identify the federal concern.
Okay.
We're also doing some things locally within the SHA to put out some public notices about things to do with the upcoming season coming out with our district community liaison and our office communication. So we're working with Talbot County and that area down there to kind of come up with some messaging to kind of make people understand what they can do at their level to keep that the bridge structure from opening quite as much. But it's a challenge no matter what. We've heard concerns from the local emergency medical service, the response times being restricted for them. I mean, we've looked at a lot of different things pertaining to that bridge, and it to say the least, it's going to be challenging. But Delegate Mounts and I have had meetings about this offline, talking about it, and I do think, again, this is just my opinion from looking and talking to the locals. I think the timed closings or timed openings are not going to be conducive to the operations down there. But I think we really do need to look at the partial openings as an option. So
I appreciate that. Thanks, Ken. I think we got to move to Mr. Doyle, William Doyle.
Yes, sir.
And then I guess we'll go to Kristen after that.
Yeah, if you have questions, if we have time, we can go through some questions. So I'll be brief. I know that, sir, Mr. Chairman, thank you for letting me address you folks today. We do have some materials that were pre-sent in, so you can look at those, and I'll just get right into it. For the record, my name is Bill Doyle. I'm the Executive Director of the Maryland Port Administration. For the next year, we're in execution phase on projects. Number one will be the Howard Street Tunnel. And what I could say is that on Monday, we received the EA, the environmental assessment. All is in good order. The comment period opens. It will go to the 30th of March. We'll combine those comments with the Federal Railroad Administration, with CSX, Ports America, and then have a final document that will come out, and hopefully we break ground this summer. Next project that we're working on right now is Ports America Chesapeake. That's the public-private partnership for the container terminal. As we speak right now, there's dredging going on at berth 3, and that dredging is in the range of 54% complete. The importance of that is dredging that berth will allow us to work on loading and unloading 2 14,000 TEU container ships, 20 equivalent foot units. Those are the largest ships that can fit through the Panama Canal. It's not just going to have 2 14,000 TEU container ships, but we'll still be able to operate and unload 2 other container ships of sizes 8,000 and below. The next, and importantly, for the Eastern Shore, I want to jump right into a couple of items that are going on. Poplar Island. At the end of January, the MPA and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers announced a milestone in environmental stewardship on the landmark restoration of Poplar Island in Talbot County. Since 1998, Poplar has been Maryland's primary site for beneficial use of sediment dredged from the shipping channels leading to the Port of Baltimore. Construction on Poplar's final expansion was completed on January 20th. Poplar will continue to receive material until approximately 2032. I want everybody to understand, because I get this question often. If construction is done and complete, then why are you still dumping material there? Basically, what we've done is we've constructed the perimeter around Poplar Island. So that is set, and we can put more dredge material into that site for reclamation of land. That will continue for the next 10 years. Moving on to Mid-Bay, with Poplar's restoration project nearing completion, the port, the Maryland Congressional Delegation, and the Army Corps of Engineers are shifting gears to Maryland's next major project, the Mid-Chesapeake Bay Island Ecosystem Restoration Project. Located in Dorchester County, this restoration project rebuilds the James and Byron Islands, providing a myriad of environmental and economic benefits, including but not limited to shoreline restoration, commercial navigation, flood and storm damage reduction, and restoring and expanding island habitat to provide hundreds of acres of wetland and terrestrial habitat for fish, shellfish, reptiles, amphibians, birds, and mammals, all through the beneficial use of dredged material. Once completed, Mid-Bay will accommodate an astounding 95 million cubic yards of dredged material, providing over 30 years of placement capacity, ensuring our marine highway remains safe and open for business. In January, the Corps announced the pre-construction engineering and design on Mid-Bay was 100% funded. This is a huge step forward. As the Corps and NPA proceed with the pre-construction engineering and design phase, we remain laser focused on securing federal construction funding and engaging a variety of stakeholders. Along with the full support of the Maryland Congressional Delegation, the port is advocating for $38 million in federal construction funds to be included in the President's FY 2022 or FY 2023 budget. As you know, this project faces the risk of deauthorization in June of 2024 unless there is a prior obligation of construction funding, which we're working on. I know my team connected with the Dorchester County delegation this past December, and I encourage the continuation of this open communication line. In response to that discussion, my staff are working diligently with our partners to create publicly accessible forums, webinars, and information on the project to be distributed among your constituents. I want to also make the offer that any of you folks that want to come down to the port, come over to the port for a tour, would be happy to do that. Importantly, come June, after we finish the reconstruction of Seagirt, the dredging is completed, we're expecting in July, August timeframe, 4 brand new super post-Panamax cranes to be coming into the port to attach to the dock. That is part of the responsibility of Ports America Chesapeake and their funding source to the tune of $55 million. Those will be coming under the Key Bridge. We invite you. We'll have tugboats, all the companies that have watercraft in the port. They'll be available to put people on board, and we can watch the cranes come in. As I conclude, Kristen Fiddler, who's here with me, she's the Director of Harbor Development. She can take any questions on anything related to dredging, Mid-Bay, Poplar Island, and all that good stuff. So from now, I'll stop right there, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'll pause and we can take any questions.
At this point, does Kristen want to say a brief thing? We're getting close to our time. I'm running low.
Not at all, just good morning. Thank you. We look forward to working with you moving forward on Mid-Bay.
I appreciate that. You know, I'll tell you, I don't see any questions right now, but if you don't mind, we'll just keep moving forward here, if that's all right with you. But we do appreciate you coming on. Sorry about the short time. We don't have, I'm sorry.
By all means, thank you.
Okay. All right. Tim, thank you and your team. We appreciate all the work you do. Next up, I think we're just going to move into our Eastern Shore universities. And I believe Dr. Anderson was the one on the list here, or?
Good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Arndt. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. And in the essence of time, I will move very, very quickly. I want to first of all reassure you, we have COVID under control on the campus with 50% of our students here and 50% of our employees, less than 1% positivity rate. But what I really want to do is say thank you to all of you, all of our delegates, all of our senators on the Eastern Shore. You have really helped us achieve 3 things this year, and I just wanted to update you on them. Number 1, Senator Carrozza, we did it. Natural gas is coming to our area very, very soon. And we need it here. And we are thrilled with that. and it's going to make a major difference for most of the citizens here on the Eastern Shore. Thank you, everyone who participated in that. Number two, our buildings are going up. Thank you for all of your help. Please get over and see this new School of Pharmacy and Health Professions building. Windows have gone in, brick is being put on there. It is really on track, and we'll open it next year. All of you are invited to our hard hat ceremony on April 30th, and you should have received in your offices a little gift package from us about that. Less than $20, of course. We have our new Ag Rec building that you approved for us. Thank you so much. We hope to be looking at breaking ground on that in the summer. Number three, House Bill 1 and Senate Bill 1 could not have moved as far as long as it has without all of your help. I am deeply indebted to all of you for that. And if it passes this year and gets through the governor for funding, I assure you that we will be a game changer for UMES. We will be starting a veterinary science program. We have already started to do implementation on that and planning. The chancellor has approved us to move forward with the feasibility study on that regard. And we will be expanding healthcare here. And I'm looking at my notes. That's it for me. Thanks a lot from all of our faculty, staff, and students. We appreciate all of you and look forward to seeing you here at April 30th.
I guess up next we have Cliff Coppersmith.
Good morning, everybody. I too will be very brief. I want to just focus on a few most important points. First of all, we're planning to get back to full operations as soon as possible as we monitor conditions. Right now, we have about 200 faculty, staff, and students on campus daily. We are hoping to expand that as of June 1st and getting ready to bring support staff back as full-time and as regular schedule as possible. We are really focusing on economic recovery. We know that's what our mission will be over the next several years. And we are busily looking at the funds that we've been given, CARES 1, CARES 2, and also the state funding that's been provided for us for our students and for workforce development and other related activities. Currently, we have our health professions are back on campus, skilled trades, and also our athletes. And we are hoping to have sports begin competition in soccer and baseball within the next couple of weeks. Just a couple of things I think you need to know about in terms of our service to the community. We're currently in the final stages of negotiating an MOU with UMS to provide a vaccination site on campus, kind of the opposite days from the testing collection activity that's still going on, although that activity has diminished as the virus has lessened in our local community. We're also bringing back Pride of the Peak. We're recognizing two significant members of our local community for their service to the community and to the college. That includes John DeLuca and Bob Rao. And we're also recognizing our own multicultural affairs committee, which has helped us with our relationships with our minority communities in our community. We're recognizing that group for their service to the college and to our region. That event will be virtual. And the most important part of that event will be on April 29th at 6 o'clock if you'd like to participate. That is the most important things I wanted to share with you all this morning, but also very much thank you all for your leadership and service to Chesapeake as well as to our system as we deal with several pieces of legislation this session that are really important in terms of their potential impact to the college. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cliff. Peter Goodwin. President Peter Goodwin, sorry.
Well, thank you, Chair Arentz, and good morning, distinguished senators, delegates. It's great to be with you this morning. I'm Peter Goodwin. I serve as the president of the University of Maryland Center for Environmental Science, and I will also be very brief. First of all, I just wanted to thank all of you for your continued commitment to higher education on the Eastern Shore. Briefly around COVID, as my colleagues have said, I think we're all very proud of the response of the University of System of Maryland, but also the collaboration between the higher education institutions on the Eastern Shore. I'd just like to touch on a couple of things around that. Since we last spoke, we've received a number of large national research grants. I'm just going to mention one of those. Professor Ming Lee is leading a National Science Foundation national program on coastal resilience. And this looks at innovative solutions that are being developed around the nation. And of course, the living shorelines, the oyster reefs, and other ideas being tested on the Eastern Shore will feature very prominent in that national program. And as you've just heard from Executive Director Doyle, I'd just like to mention how much we appreciate the collaboration with the Maryland Port Administration on the Dredge Materials Management Program. Not just with Poplar Island, but we're really looking forward to Mid-Bay. As the Executive Director Doyle mentioned, this isn't just about habitat fisheries benefits, but also how you reach out to the communities so that the communities benefit from this kind of large-scale program. So we're looking forward to that as we go forward. So I'd just like to conclude by thanking you for your time this morning. Of course, as you're fully aware, UMSI's role is to provide the science and the information to the state of Maryland. And I would just encourage you or your staff, if you have any questions about the myriad of environmental issues facing the state, please don't hesitate to reach out either to myself or Dave Nabasi, who works as the liaison with the government. So with that, Chairman, thank you for the opportunity to speak today.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next up, we have President Ray Hoy.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you all. And I'd like to join my colleagues in thanking you for all your support. It's critical that we get the support that we receive from each and every one of you. Welcome from Warwick Community, beautiful campus of Warwick Community College, sitting over my shoulder. Things are progressing well this spring. We contacted all of our students. We surveyed them last summer and said, how do you want to access education this fall? And they told us 36% wanted campus-based instruction, 33% wanted online instruction, 10% wanted virtual with set times, and another 21% wanted hybrid. They wanted to come to campus part of the time, but they wanted to be home and working remotely part of the time. And we delivered a schedule that would meet their needs. And it worked very successfully in the fall. And it has continued to work in the spring. We delivered the same thing. And interestingly, I say students vote with their feet. Well, actually, they're voting with their fingers these days. And they scheduled the same in the same manner that they told us that they were going to, that they wanted. So we put a schedule out there. We gave them choice, and they've addressed that. And we're meeting their needs, apparently, because they came back in the spring. In fact, our spring numbers were up over fall and much improved in that regard. We canceled spring break. We did that before the semester started because we were concerned about the Christmas holiday and people coming back after that. So we delayed our opening, and it's working out pretty well for us. I don't think anybody's really concerned. And I think it's going to work out. It's not something we're going to do long term, but certainly this year it was a good choice. In terms of COVID, we haven't had any campus spread. We've had one-off cases. And of course, as a community college, people come and go and they're bringing things with them. Currently, the police academy is quarantined for the second time this spring, unfortunately. But we've had to quarantine the numerous courses throughout the semester, but it's working. And we're not seeing any campus spread. So I'm very proud of the work that everybody's doing. We have daily health screenings when you access campus, of course, 6-foot social distancing, masks, and sanitation. The new applied technology building design is on schedule. Design docs are being submitted. We're excited about that project. And again, I appreciate your support. As we're ramping up to that, we just signed a new plumbing apprenticeship agreement with Associated Building Contractors. Very excited about that arrangement that is added to the electrical apprenticeship that we already have going. And our engineering program, we've been able to articulate that with the University of Maryland Clark School of Engineering and the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. Excited about that working relationship with those institutions as well with our students. We're working on a new strategic plan. The board work session is next week. We decided to do a 3-year plan rather than a longer range plan, just so we can get through COVID and focus on those things that are going to be changing and how we're doing things. We didn't feel as though a longer range plan was appropriate at this time, and that seems to be working out. We've got tremendous input from the community, from our faculty and staff, and the board will be reviewing all that and dealing with that. And lots of bills. I've been corresponding with you, contacting you about numerous things, and will continue to do so. And again, I thank you for your support of each and every one. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. We appreciate yours. President Charles White.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity. I would like to echo the remarks of my fellow presidents, especially appreciating the collaborative spirit through which we've been communicating during the pandemic. Almost every decision that we have made during this pandemic was based on 3 guiding principles. The first is keeping our community safe. The second is protecting jobs to support the regional economy. And the third is to continue to offer the highest quality educational experience for our students. In keeping our community safe, we of course have, like the others, an extensive messaging campaign, and our students and faculty and staff have bought into the importance of masking up and keeping the social distance, hand hygiene, and isolating when necessary. And like the other institutions, we have a very extensive program of COVID testing, and our positivity rate has been less than 2% for the entire academic year, and for spring semester, less than 1%. For protecting jobs and supporting the local economy, our economic impact on Salisbury and Wacomico County is about $600 million every year. And it's really important for us that SU is open for business. So more than 50% of our students are taking face-to-face classes. About 2/3 of our classes are offered either face-to-face or in hybrid format. Athletics is gearing up for spring sports, and we even have a couple of football games scheduled. All of our residence halls are occupied, and dining services is in full swing. And we continue to offer the highest quality educational experience as well. The evidence for this is that 15 of our students this year are Fulbright Student Scholar semifinalists. We have been named for the 4th year in a row as a top producer of Fulbright students by the U.S. Department of State. That puts us 4th in the nation among master's degree institutions. So that's a point of pride for us. Our faculty are capturing a very large share of awards, including the Board of Regents awards. And I'd like to give a shout out to one of our students, Jack Lennox, is a Presidential Citizen Scholar. And Jack, on his own and on his own initiative, organized 60 students to partner with the county health department to assist disadvantaged and disenfranchised people to get COVID vaccination appointments. And so that effort is gearing up right now. I'd like to express my thanks for the support that's provided by the legislature and the state of Maryland. And I'd like to extend a personal invitation to each of you to attend our Posters on the Bay event. Eli Maudlin will be sending you reminders and information this coming week. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. I appreciate y'all come up here. I know we usually have a lot of interaction, I think, with the time constraints on everybody, because we're going to have to get in session here real quick. At this point, I'd like to maybe recognize our federal delegation. Who wants to go first?
Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Chair. I have nothing this week. I appreciate it, though.
Thank you. That's fine.
And in the interest of time, Kimberly Crowderville, Senator Cardin's office, just hello to everyone. And in the interest of time, no, nothing to report.
Thank you, Chair. I'll try to be real brief too. Just a couple things. Just a reminder that PPP applications will be due at the end of this month. There is rumbling that will be extended, but count on the end of this month. Also like to mention that any grant applications that anyone's sending in, please remember to request a letter of support from the federal delegation. I'm sure the senator's offices, as well as Congressman Harris, are more than happy to provide letters of support for your grant applications. And the final thing, Congressman Harris is extremely interested at the moment in anything involved with opioid awareness programs that are happening out in the district, and he would like to be involved in any of those kind of programs that you may have. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Appreciate the time. Any comments from the delegation before we thank everybody and say goodbye?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, we do have a letter of support, actually for, actually what we're trying to do is ask DBM and the governor's office to fund the disparity grant. I don't know if you guys remember a couple of years ago, we passed a bill that increased the disparity grant. 4 counties on the Eastern Shore actually benefit from it. And in that bill, I think it was back in 2016, it actually had a sunset on it. And so what we had to do last year, and Delegate Anderson was the sponsor of the bill, we had to actually eliminate that sunset. And that's what the bill did. Unfortunately, the governor vetoed it. Not because I don't think he did it because he didn't like the bill or the concept of what we were trying to do here. It had a $15 million fiscal note. And so what he did because of the virus, the coronavirus, is he went through and vetoed just about anything that had any significant fiscal note to it. So this letter is asking him to include that $15 million in a supplemental budget. Because we overrode the veto this year, we're okay in the out years. It's just the next fiscal year that we're going to be short that amount of money. So the counties included is Caroline, Dorchester, Wycomico, and Somerset. And so I'm making a motion that we all sign off this letter and send it to Deputy Secretary Nicole.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Okay, any discussion? You know, I'm not sure we have a quorum right now. But if we don't have a quorum, we'll fix that. But well, maybe we do. Based on that, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So moved. All right. Speaker Pro Tem. No, I'm sorry. I thought you wanted something. All right. Any other comments or questions? If not, I get to session. Let's get some stuff done, and thank everyone for attending. We do appreciate the time, and hopefully next year these things will get a whole lot bigger and a whole lot more interactive. But thank you all for being here.